Ghana's coastline is 550 kilometers long. About 7.5 million people live along the coast of Ghana. This has made the interaction of man with the ocean unavoidable, but this friendly relationship seems to be turning hostile due to man's activities such as the dumping of plastic waste into the ocean. The existential threat to lives and property along the coast. Also of grave concern is beach sand mining.
Yes, no worries for you. Here be our Galamsey. Here is our rare Accra Galamsey for you.
Interestingly, some people living along the coast are now seeing sand as their Galamsey or sand winning as their Galamsey, which is very unfortunate.
In this documentary, we explore how the illegal practice of sand mining is worsening the existential threat of climate change and rising sea levels.
They collect sand in my time. Now I'll be 46 years guy. I was born 1976, 12 February. I'm from Jamestown, British Accra. I know many things in Accra. The time I start beach camp, that I was 6 years. People they collect sand, I grow, see the sand, the sand be Gary, government leaves for us.
It's a crime, it's criminal. EPA will not permit and has not permitted any sand winning activity along the coastal line, let alone building physical infrastructure that can cause so much damage.
The sun is up here at the Colegona beach. It's always a perfect time for people to bask in the sun, play games, and cool off in the ocean. Many people usually throng this beach on weekends, but not today. Only a few people are here. Filthy, polythene-ridden beaches may be driving beach lovers away. But even more worrying are the activities of these individuals here, engaging in sand mining, robbing the sea of its buffer in broad daylight. They scoop the beach sand into several sacks and sell the sacks of sand for construction works. Although beach sand mining is banned in Ghana, the activity is still rife. It will be very easy to arrest people who mine sand at the beach. But just like many other laws, enforcement is always a problem. Saki Otokuno has lived here his entire life. He and several others earn their incomes pillaging the sandy white beaches of Ghana's coastline. According to him, the sand is a gift from heaven that will never deplete.
Sand is the sand way there, it be our food. It be Accra people, them our food. Ghana people, it be our food. If you go away, we don't get nothing. They can't take the sand, go sell some.
Beach sand is considered by these illegal miners as not strictly belonging to anyone. The relative abundance of this resource, coupled with unemployment and cultural misconceptions, have worsened the erosion of the coast.
How the people they chop the sand government with the beg leave us for us. So because your people they chop Galamsey, we talk. They know the year. Let dig the sand. Then the sand inside girl. But sometimes if they don't make about they dig the sand inside. So which will they dig and get more money to feed ourselves. So leave the sand matter for us.
People still think in the cornucopian era where they think natural resources are bound. They are there to be used and can never get finished. But the New World Order has traversed through protectionism, conservationism. Now we are in sustainable development and sustainable management of these resources.
Jonah is a fisherman here at Colegona, but he occasionally collects sand for sale. To earn some more money, he mines beach sand and makes cement blocks for sale. Jonah claims many buildings around Colegona and its environs were built using the sea sand. He downplays the impact of their illegal activities on the coastline.
ona na soso ke ona gba mo egba omo kin so ke jiga ni ba ma mi o wa nyi water okay fa me ka yu aga shia na lo o do jino ni ani so ba ma ami pi na me mama chuje ma mi abi ama ga shi ko shia pe jino ni akemalu onye ka ma ga jen so jino ni fiti oni bi edile wo we sha so jino ni ikla o.
It's unfortunate if people should talk about not seeing or feeling the impacts, because the impacts are clear and clear every day. There are damages and loss of lives and properties when the tidal waves occur. You remember Keta, very bad experience. So the effects are there, clear and glare for people to see.
Close to the site where these illegal sand miners operate, the cliff base is badly exposed to wave attacks. Bedrocks are visible, making it dangerous for swimming. The natural defense system to counter the sea waves is disturbed as a result of sand mining. Although the people insist the sand replenishes itself, experts say once the sand is collected, it cannot be restored. Professor Kwesi Apienin Ado is the director of the Institute for Environment and Sanitation Studies at the University of Ghana.
Sand winning is a major problem because you can't imagine a coastal area without sand. Sand is a major part of the entire coastal systems, and the ocean thrives on sand. What I mean is that you have the sand which comes and the sand being carried away. So sand comes into the system, and sand is carried away from the system. So the moment you have a system and you have more sand moving into the system compared to sand being carried away from the system, then you have surplus sand that helps to build your beach. If you have sand entering the system being equal to sand moving away from the system, then you also have a healthy system in that what comes in is equal to what goes out.
Beach sand maintains a balanced sediment budget and acts as a buffer for the cliff base. Even though coastal erosion is unavoidable and its impact can be very devastating, man's activities have exacerbated the negative impact, forcing the sea to eat up the coastline.
The situation whereby you have less sand coming to the system compared to sand moving away from the system, then you have more sand moving from the system that results in a deficit in the system, and that can enhance coastal erosion. So you realize that we have what we call sediment budget. So the moment you have less sand into the system compared to sand being taken away, then you don't have a healthy system. So if we collect what is there, then we are compounding the problem in that the less sand that is coming into the system are being taken away. And that will obviously affect the sediment budget within that system. And it can cause a lot of problems. And one major issue as a result of that is coastal erosion. And that is the reason why in some areas we have increased problems with coastal erosion.
It appears there is a ready market for blocks molded with beach sand. Solid, hollow, and various design blocks are made right here at the beach. Thousands of blocks are waiting for buyers.
Some are being very smart in that if they collect the sand and send it away, they may be termed as winning sand or mining sand. But what some of them are doing now is take the sand, mold the block there. So if they are taking blocks away, it is not sand they are taking away, but blocks. But in any case, once you pick the sand, you are mining sand, or you are collecting or mining for sand. So the impact is still the same, because you are depriving that system of the amount of sand that it needs. And again, as you continue mining for sand, you are also creating a pathway for the waves to now move more inland.
According to the Yale School of Forestry and Environmental Studies, sand mining is the world's largest mining endeavor, responsible for 85% of all mineral extraction. It is also the least regulated and quite possibly the most corrupt and environmentally destructive. The executive director of the Environmental Protection Agency, Dr. Henry Kokofu, underscores the importance of the coastline.
The subject matter, which is the coastal line, is part and parcel of the natural estate, the ecosystems that we're talking about. And it's a very important ecosystem, plays very significant role in the protection of the ocean and also the shoreline of all countries, including Ghana. And if you do not have coastal protection, it means you one day wake up and then the tidal waves of the ever-rising sea level would wash away settlements and cause enough havoc.
Established by Act 490, the EPA is by law the state institution handed the responsibility of regulating, protecting, and improving the environment.
It goes beyond the Act 490 because the parent law of this country, that's the 1992 Constitution, Article 36(9), and then Article 41K are all in there, giving impetus to the importance of protecting and safeguarding the environment. I must say that there are a lot of challenges in trying to regulate this very important resource.
Many buildings along the coast have become death traps. Their foundations have been exposed, putting them at risk of collapse. The owners are forced to support their structures with bags of beach sand collected around. Others resort to heaping plastic waste in front of the facilities to protect them from the raging waves. But this does not hold back the sea, as the waves easily wash the rubbish away. Some developers appear audacious and are building on the beach using the very sand sediment that limits the sea from land invasion.
That's absolutely unnecessary. Why would you want to do that? Particularly when you don't have the advanced technology to sustain that kind of development. Yes, go to other jurisdictions. They have, because the system supports such adventurous investment or development. But here we are grappling with simple technologies to sustain our developmental program. So why would you want to put so much effort, money, and resources into something that virtually can cause catastrophe?
There's a conflict, and that conflict, human is taking the space that is meant for the ocean to naturally evolve. And once they are taking it, the ocean doesn't know, a stop work sign. The ocean will continue to do its natural, behavior, naturally evolve. And once it's naturally evolving and it's coming closer to the land that is reserved for the ocean to evolve, then you are shouting that the ocean is taking your property away. No, you are rather encroaching on the land that should be reserved for the ocean to naturally evolve.
25 kilo le fin ekome o 25 kilo le fin okay 250 pesos na on smith 61 o ko lo pay lo le 220 o pay lo le 15 here o pay lo le 250 o ko gwenye ba hwe.
While sand miners are benefiting from the enterprises, beachfront tourism facility owners also have to spend huge sums of revenue on ad hoc protective projects, or they lose their entire investments. In order to tame the waves, they build walls or heap large stones on the beaches to protect their properties. Apia, not his real name, is a hotelier here at Kolegono. He laments the impact of sand mining on their business.
If you notice, we put some edges. Some people too have put rocks. So the holes, the sea, when it comes with sand. So it holds them. But you see that here, this level is higher than that in the sea. So this is actually helping, to push the sea backwards. But it's not always you get it. But when at times it just rises and it just finds its own way and very dangerous. So me, my reason to educate each and everybody that whatever we do, it will come around to affect us.
The sand mining phenomenon is all the more worrying as the impact of erosion along the coast is only likely to worsen with climate change and rising sea levels. According to Professor Apienin Ado, Ghana's coastline is eroding at an average rate of about 2 meters a year, but some areas have recorded up to 17 meters of erosion in a single year. The 150-kilometer eastern coastline, which stretches from Aflao to Pram, has been identified as the most vulnerable. This is due to the influence of sand movement downstream of the Volta River, which is usually characterized by relatively strong waves and currents.
How that people do, they sell Akotia people, they sell the diamond things for the river inside, where we they sell the sand, then too they sell the timber and things, Obuasi, Yakari Chrome, Biposu, Puano. I know I work for them. They sell the bush, this thing, mineral resources rough. Government, they talk. If they say these people, they are like, they know them or they forget it.
Managing coastal challenges should be looked at as a holistic, issue, or we should not look at it as a segmented issue. The local people, including the local authorities, but are more particular about the indigenous people, should be involved in the management of coastal challenges. Now, if you take sand mining, for instance, there is a ban on sand winning along the coast. One major challenge we've identified is the enforcement of the ban. But moving forward, is enforcement the only means by which we can manage these challenges or stop people from mining sand? No. To me, I think it's about time we begin to involve them. We begin to let them appreciate the impact of their activities. Because I believe that once they understand and they're able to appreciate that this is going to have effect on our livelihood, have effect on our children's livelihood, have effect on our children's livelihood. Why? They would appreciate the challenges and they will be part of the solution. But a situation whereby you leave them out and you try to solve it without involving them, to me, it will not work. We need everybody on board, and the role of the local or the indigenous people in this activity in terms of managing challenges within the coastal area is critical and is key.
From time to time, the police raid the beach of these illegal activities, but the people remain adamant in putting an end to their trade. This gentleman, for example, is in a hurry to leave the beach to avoid arrest. He has finished loading his tricycle with cement blocks.
They think they are the community members, and this is a resource for them to be commercialized. But the environmental cost is far, far greater than whatever you realize by commercializing the sand winning at the coast. So we have got to use the full force of the law to clamp them down, the activity down. We cannot look on.
In 2015, the government constructed a sea defense structure along the Klefe-Gbegbeise coastline to fight erosion. Prior to its construction, the densely populated fishing communities were hit by tidal waves and floods. While their troubles looked resolved, the problem seems to have been transferred to adjoining communities. Shiabu, a few minutes' drive from Kolegono, is one of the hardest hit coastal communities in Accra. Hundreds of homes have been swallowed by the troubled sea, forcing many to flee. Amma has lived here with her family for 2 years. Her house is less than 50 meters from the sea. She's always lost in her own thoughts of safety. She's worried about the waves breaking down her house and killing her and her 7-month-old baby.
Satam na deni se na so suto un se June July mu de na so ta ton kitinkiti enti na me de me baby no hyedem enti wodem wa na me de me tin sa de ni ye gbim prekope na me soli na me pagya me ba no me ni me ma mienu na wodem mu na ba ko so yi ye flash na ye TV no ka se afford about enti me support enti me you see I say see breeze na akoma ma na say e na me pagya baby no e na ye do no ko hye ma me foforo bi dem when I want and be best see me yet dear na say sakot na ho. And they said them nyam shishi me nya sika ka met to Africa.
Amma is unable to afford rent elsewhere, so she has decided to risk staying here, praying for God's protection. But even in the glare of disaster, individuals still mind sound here.
Me feel rough on the mu can say ma mu sa nyan nya sampu no. Ebe ba no mu de mu de o mu dan mu na mpo ni mbra betu ye wa ha na.
Some Shebu residents are blaming the construction of the Glefe Sea defense for their woes.
15 years. 15 years, yes, but I can. No, me, when I can show you, say, can I wear be? No, was sharing what you are, alone you are there. Can't think about me, children, you will be to 22. When you to 22 years, ne agbene where she pon yes kwa ogan shorty ni na agbago be she e bara ga che go to na ga aga afi ne gete ne gemba ko ni agesa show na ko ni aga fe pressure lo na agbago yawo she e bara ga na yin te fe mo gemba anye agete abako ni ebawo ni te na chi e afi pressure yawo e bi wo be e ha ni kaji isho wo e no pressure di o na ga fe ma gbe ono e bi they
are appealing to the government to extend the seawall to cover their area so as to reduce the impact of the rising sea levels.
She will be a jolly be you were assembly a beer, were MP a beer, were you look by community a beer. I mean, I know she won't not go only put enough for our way. Robert, if you have to walk by me here. Wo ye wo be wo won pagba ake onupa ni ko onu e mi ya me bu awo ko ni ta anya ba wo ko ni wona agba safo.
But is sea defense the ideal solution to the impact of coastal erosion?
I've always been saying that sea defense is not the right approach in managing coastal challenges, especially coastal erosion, because sea defense is basically fighting erosion. And you can't use an artificial means to fight a natural system. So for you to be able to fight a natural system, you must develop a natural means to fight the natural system. Artificial means can never and has never been the solution in fighting a natural system. So sea defense are always not a solution. Basically what we do with sea defense is that we either prevent the ocean from taking sediment away, or we block sediment within the transport path, the sediment transport path. We block and trap sediment so that we build beaches within where erosion is a problem. But in blocking sediment, you are depriving other areas of sediment. So basically what you've done is that you've transferred the problem from one location to the other. And that is why in some areas, you realize that in Keta, for instance, sea defense is doing very well, but downdrift erosion has increased. Why? Because the volume of sediment that could have gone to build the beaches and gone to, create a balance in the sediment budget regime are now being blocked and trapped. So the reduced sediment will definitely have an impact. And these are some of the reasons why the downdrift side begin to erode if they are not eroding, or you have an enhanced erosion if they're already eroding. So to me, sea defense using hard engineering approach has never been a solution. We should now begin to think about managing with nature, and that is nature-based solution. So naturally, how has the system been able to defend itself against erosion? That is how we should understand and try to mimic the natural systems of managing erosion, and then try to replicate that natural system. And I think that is the way to go. So to me, we can't win this fight. No, can't. Because, and again, can we protect the entire coast of Ghana? It's not possible. We don't have the means to do that.
Professor Apienin Ado said the increasing threats from coastline erosion was one of the factors that influenced the relocation of the presidency from the Christianborg Castle to the Jubilee House in 2013. Currently, the Christianborg Castle is facing serious erosion, with portions of the wall facing the sea falling off.
Several areas along the coast, not just Christianborg Castle, but several areas along the coast are vulnerable. And how do we ensure that there is an increased resilience so as to be able to fight or to withstand some of these challenges? Every facility within the coastal area has a certain level of vulnerability. But how do we ensure that we enhance the resilience of communities, resilience of infrastructure, resilience of assets within the coastal area? So it's all encompassing. But unfortunately, because we don't have a workable management plan for the coastal area, anything is just going on.
It was quite frightening. I was there, and the evidence is vivid and it's available, and we've taken up that information and working it around with the relevant institutions to see how it can be done. It calls for a stakeholder meeting where we will be able to judge all and then together find a solution to all that.
Other national landmarks, including the Independence Square, forts and castles, as well as UNESCO World Heritage Sites in the Volta, Greater Accra, Central and Western regions, are in danger of being claimed by the encroaching sea in the next century.
Sea defense is part of the physical constructions that can help mitigate the action. We normally want to rely on natural contributions towards the protection of the coastal line, but it must go hand in hand with the physical construction. That is how come the government has committed so much money and continues to do so to ensure the protection of the sea from destroying most of these facilities. As a nation, we have a situation on our hands, and I agree that something more concrete needs to be done in order to avert possible loss of these important historical monuments.
Well, I think it's about time that we begin to look at the coastal environment as an environmental issue and deal with it from that environmental perspective. And the people with the technical know-how within the environmental setting should be able or should be given the chance to look at that. A situation whereby we have different departments working within that space hasn't been the solution. It is changing the boundary of our southern border. The shoreline is changing. So basically we are losing land. So we can't say that the shape of our map is what it used to be some years back. So what it tells you is that the land area, we are losing land.
There is a need for a proactive monitoring system to protect the coastal ecosystem. An all-hands-on-deck approach is key.
Yes, one will say you have the law, crack the whip. We will do so, but we strongly believe that a willing people to go by regulation is far better than whipping people in line to go by regulation all the time. So we intend combining both tools: enforcement, full rigors of the law, and also continuous education and awareness creation.
Man's activities, especially coastal sand mining, is waging war against nature. As long as the earth will have life, man's existence will deeply be knotted with the sea. Experts say that beach sand mining is an existential threat to Ghana's coasts. It's crucial for a multi-sectorial approach to tackling this catastrophe. Indeed, man has to learn to live with nature and not against nature.